electricity?
Thank you very much, because I always say the alternative would have been, assuming we have not put in that money, what will have happened? Because if we put in so much money and we haven't seen much as we expected, it's not that we have not seen electricity. That sector was virtually going down. And what the central bank came in to do was to liaise with the banks to clear some of the legacy debts which they were being owed, to enable them come up to speed and be able to produce. And also for the gas suppliers who were being owed then to be able to continue to produce gas and supply to the turbines so that they can generate electricity. We did this believing that when this is done, all other constraints notwithstanding, then the power sector will actually come up to speed. And then we will see, because we believe that the multiplier effect of the power sector will be greater than what we are seeing in the telecom sector once we get it right. That is why we do what we have done.
But you're putting money now into electricity in the power sector, and you find out that maybe a little bit unlike agriculture, it's not just money problems in the power sector.
Yeah, well, maybe not money, not just money problem, but they also have some infrastructural constraint, which I think you will have had the minister, Honorable Minister for Power, talking about that some time ago, that they will soon overcome that. It is just an issue. They have some challenges, and they are actually doing something about it. So I believe that with time, we should be able to overcome and then be able to reach our El Dorado in terms of power supply, which hold the key to a lot of things, especially with production.
I'm looking at one of the pages. You look at the central bank intervention funds. You look at the interest savings by the power companies. You believe that you've that's speaking to okay, sorry, no, there's a previous page starting from number 1. That's about 5.58 billion naira in the power sector. You believe you think some money has been saved through that, isn't it? But again, we need to move on very quickly because of time. Look at the airline sector as we're trying to get what the economic and social benefits of what you've done. Yes, the power sector is trudging on, but airline seems to be one very naughty sector as well, as we see one after the other, almost all the local airlines run into very serious problems in which even AMCON says, well, perhaps thousands of jobs would have gone down the drain.
Thank you very much, Bosin. You remember you were in this country when we were having series of air crashes. And what was the reason? It was actually financial. Most of them could not carry out routine maintenance of those aircraft. And a situation where we have that, and all that needed was an intervention to provide resources for these airlines to be able to purchase the needed spare part, pay some of their contractors who actually service those planes, because a lot of them couldn't go then for routine maintenance. And of course, what we are talking about here is not a car that could have an accident and then maybe 1 or 2 may have injuries, others will survive. When an airplane falls off the air, of course, hundreds of people get lost with it. And this, we believe that it is pertinent that somebody must do something to ensure that we don't continue. And of course, since the central bank intervention, they may be owing, but air crashes in the air has reduced, if not zero, since this program started. And those are part of the thing that actually motivated the central bank to be able to continue to intervene in this process, because we believe the result may not be now. But like I always said, the issue is, being a scientist, is the fact that what happens if we didn't do this? Would we have still had any airline running by now? Though some of them have been chased about by AMCON because of the debt situation. But we also believe that airline business is not a taxi business. It's an expensive venture. And they have social responsibility and social obligation, which they perform to. You and I, you are in Lagos. There was a time when we had only Nigeria Airways. Of course, you know what it means if you have to travel between Lagos and Abuja. If you don't have your ticket in days, you wouldn't fly. So that is why we need to still maintain them in air.
You put in one of our viewers, Ikemosa says, it looks like the central bank is still the only game in town. you're putting money into aviation, you're putting money into the power sector, you're putting money into agriculture, and you're doing textiles as well. Yeah. Do you think you're spreading the pulse, the national pulse, so thin, and the results are not as rapid as you would want to see them? Are you satisfied with what you're doing, or you think you're pumping money down the drain?
I wouldn't say we're pumping money down the drain, because basically the money central bank is being used is creating an impact. But you talked about the textile. You know, once it was in this country, the textile industry was the greatest employer of labor. And then we believe, because we are talking about labor, people refer to it when the GDP data was released that they were still not very comfortable with unemployment data. But what do we do to create jobs? If the industry starts producing, textile industry start functioning, of course, people will be off the street. And you know, in those days, going through, you are in Lagos, going through Aswani alone, you see when people are closing from those factories, how many people are rushing out of the road. Go to Kaduna, how many industries do we have? So these are what we are hoping to see, that as long as this industry, once they come back on stream, not only will they add to the national GDP, but they will also create employment for Nigerians, and then thereby reducing the unemployment issues we have in this country. And of course, we all will be better for it. The result may not be immediate, but in the long run, I think it's going to be money well spent.
Is the government happy or satisfied with what you are doing?
I believe we are working together. The fiscal and monetary authority.
No, the question is, are they happy? Is the government happy?
The government.
That you are intervening in all these sectors?
I have not heard nor seen any resentment for central bank intervention, as long as we are able to, because there is nothing about nothing bad in collaboration. If the fiscal authority, as a matter of today, if the fiscal authority say they want to take over all those things central bank hands over, I think we shall willingly hand it over to them to run. But for now, I think we don't have...
And get people's taxpayers' money back.
Yes, I don't think...
Because you need to bring all this money back.
Definitely they come back, because they are paying. It's not free money. The intervention is not free.
Okay. Yes, that's one very question. Yes, but again, people believe that you get central bank support, but interest rate is still very high. Inflation is still very high. Hold on a second. Let's come back after the break. We're going to talk about, yes, the interventions look good on paper, but again, interest rate, exchange rate, inflation are still factors to consider in the GDP. Emmanuel Okeje, Special Assistant to the Governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, live here in the studios throughout Business Morning today.